Hey, it's Original Curly J, and today we have our monthly mental health check-in. If you're new here, you probably don't know what monthly mental health check-in is. Well, it's a series that I created where at the end of every single month, we sit down and we conversate and we talk about our month. We check in on each other, and I go ahead and create a video of some things that I learned this month, and you guys can go ahead and let me know what you learned as well. Basically, we're taking this journey called life together. So we're just checking up, filling each other in on the new things. And this month's episode is Analysis Paralysis, which was actually highly recommended by multiple subscribers, multiple. So we're gonna do this topic because I think this is a great one that a lot of people do. But before we get into that, like I said, we are checking up on each other. So don't forget to follow me on my socials, and you can DM me if you need to talk to somebody or anything that you need. And you can use the comment section down below to share any of your thoughts. If you're enjoying the series, give it a huge thumbs up and do not forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Now, without further ado, let's get into today's topic. So like I said, today is all about analysis paralysis. What is analysis paralysis, you might ask? It's the feeling of being unable to make a decision because of overthinking problems. And it usually happens when you have too many variables, which causes you to overlook so many different solutions instead of just making a decision, which we find ourselves missing opportunities because we're constantly overthinking and analyzing so many different solutions instead of just picking one. If you are unaware to tell if you are actually doing this, then I'll tell you some ways of how you're suffering from analysis paralysis. If you're constantly seeking more information and conducting more research on the solutions instead of just making one, it's analysis paralysis. If you're suffering from an intense fear of making the wrong decision, which is leaving you to reluctance of taking an action, you worry excessively about potential negative outcomes, which leads you to inaction, continuously delaying your actions because you're worried about making the wrong decision, so you try to prolong it as much as possible and keep thinking over it. You tend to miss or postpone deadlines because you cannot just make a decision. When you start to feel stress, anxiety, and overwhelmed when it comes to the decision-making process, when you feel drained or exhausted constantly from analysis, or you are constantly seeking input from multiple sources, outside sources. Analysis paralysis. And although you're like, wow, honestly, I kind of do all of these things. It's okay. We're human. We all do these things. But I'm going to show you guys some symptoms that actually come from extreme analysis paralysis that can actually be very unhealthy. Some symptoms include ruminating thinking, fatigue, difficulty sleeping, which I experience a lot, loss of productivity or creativity, constant feeling of being distracted, which also is a loss of focus, depression and anxiety, which is a mental health issue. Yes, analysis paralysis can cause mental health issues. And it becomes a serious health concern when it includes physical problems like heart palpitations, insomnia, migraines, and even digestive issues. And I know I just put you guys into a panic of thinking, do I do this? Is this a problem? Are some of my problems because of analysis paralysis? Now you're overanalyzing. But don't worry, I have some things that might help with analysis paralysis, at least things that have helped me that I have tried learning in the last month to limit that as much as possible. Because all the things I just told you, I do. And all of those same things are causing mental health issues and also some physical issues that can lead into even bigger issues. So we want to kind of control that analysis paralysis, you know? It's not bad to overthink, but we need to just take a step back and just make a decision. Stop overthinking. So let's talk about how to overcome analysis paralysis. First, you want to try practicing with small decisions, like picking a restaurant to eat at. Just start small, because if you can make the small decisions, then you can make even larger decisions. Next, I would try setting a deadline to make a decision by, so you won't have too much to sit and ponder on for too long. You also want to start to narrow down your options very early on. So if you have a decision to make and you have multiple choices, kind of get rid of the ones that really don't align with what you're trying to do. The ones that straight out the gate just won't work at all. This will make it easier when it comes down to the final decision because you won't have so many things to think about again. Use framework or use a step-by-step guide when it comes to making a big decision, as this can take away from cognitive stress when deciding, because our brains are not going to want to stem out of a step-by-step guide. It's going to want to follow those steps until you come to a decision instead of just doing it sporadically. Reassure yourself with big decisions. If you're facing a very hard decision that seems impossible, take a step back. Take a moment and recognize that it's really not as hard as it may seem. Don't overdo your pros and cons list when it comes to your options. You'll start overwhelming yourself, and this will create an unhealthy balance of weighing your options and causing you to have a hard time of trusting your own instincts, because a lot of decisions are based off of instincts, and when you add too many pros and cons, you're gonna start to even question your own instincts. And trust me, they're never wrong. And these last two are extremely important, so listen up. Find peace with uncertainty. Be okay with whichever way it ends up. Do not label each one good or bad. Now, I'm a big person when it comes to actually doing this because, yeah, I'm one of those people that is like, I need it to go this way or else it's not going the right way, which is untrue because whichever way it's going is the way that's meant for you. So you have to be okay with that and be okay with being guided. And lastly, take a break from deciding and breathe. Relax your mind, go for a walk, meditate, do breathing exercises, basic stretching, and even yoga. When you're having a hard time making a decision, take a break, come back to it later. Not too much later though, but it's okay to take a break and give your mind a second to stop from thinking, and then you can come back to it in a couple hours or so. In conclusion, I'm not saying that you shouldn't think about things before you just make a decision, but I am telling you to try to limit so much overthinking when making decisions. So what I'm saying is, if it's really hard to make a decision, just do it. Make a decision on even something that you're a little worried about, a little afraid of, because in order to grow, we have to get out of the uncomfortable. And if we're only choosing choices that make us comfortable, we're never gonna find out our full potential. And it starts with narrowing down your options and just making a decision. A quote that I heard from a book called Think Straight is to say yes and ask questions later. Because what you can't undo is overthinking it, missing the opportunity, and not being able to go back when you should have just said yes to begin with. And please, if it is affecting your everyday life, please seek help from a therapist. When it's getting so bad to the point where you cannot eat, you cannot sleep, you cannot think straight, you have unpleasant thoughts, significant distress, anxiety, or you're unable to fulfill responsibilities or even maintain relationships. Whatever relationships that might be, friends, family, romantic relationships. If it's impacting your overall well-being and causing a decline in your quality of life, you need to reach out and talk to somebody, please. And yes, it can get to this point, and it has for a lot of people, and they really don't even try to recognize that, but you need help. And it's okay to accept help. Anyway, I love you guys so much, and I really hope you had a fantastic October. Now we're moving straight over to November, literally tomorrow. So just be ready. It's a new day. It's a new month. We're almost at the end of the year, and life is going to continue to get better as long as you put in the effort to make it better. You don't have to suffer from analysis paralysis. I'm so proud of all of you, and I really thank you guys so much for watching today's video. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.